So before going to the actual programs related to the part B, so you should all be perfect with the 4 registers that whatever we have discussed in the previous lab session. So we have already discussed some of the registers in order to have a communication with a LPC 2148. So what are the things we have discussed in the previous class, the previous lab? So in order to communicate with the LPC 2148. So LPC 2148 is the processor. So it is a quad inline package, so which is having 64 pins, which are also called as ports. And among 64, only 48 is under the user control, and the rest it is not for the user control. So among 48 pins, you can use those pins either as a general purpose input output, or a transmitter or receiver, or a pulse width modulator, or you can also make use of the interrupt handler. But in our syllabus, we are making use of all the pins to work as a general purpose input output. So I mean to say that, so in our syllabus, we are working, or we are making all the pins to function as a general purpose input output. Okay, so for that you want some registers. So what are those registers which will be able to control the pins? So how it has to function is, so one such register is pin select register. Okay, and as I was telling you that, so there are 4 functions, that is general purpose GPIO, transmitter receiver, interrupt handler, and PWM, that is a pulse width modulation. Since there are 4 functions, we are making use of a 2 bits for making the pin to function as a GPIO or any of among these 4 functions. So the 2 bits are 0, 0 in order to make the pin to work as GPIO. In order to make the pin to work as transmitter or receiver, it is 0, 1, and 1, 0 for PWM, and 1, 1 for interrupt handler. So these things we have already discussed. Let us just have a summary. We cannot directly start with the program. So therefore, we'll just have a summary related to the things, whatever we have discussed. So for one pin to make it as either among these 4 functions, you require how many bits? You are using 2 bits. So for 48 pins, how many bits are required? Obviously, you require 96 bits. So therefore, we are making use of 3 registers. Okay, we are making use of 3 registers, that is pin select 0, pin select 1, and pin select 2. So pin select 0 is used to control the pins from P0.0 to P0.15, and pin select 1 register is used to control pins port number 0, that is from P0.16 to P0.31, and pin select 2 register is used to control port 1, whether we are controlling the higher pins or lower pins from port 1. Any idea? You remember the things? You understood what I have asked? So pin select register 1 is used to control either the lower order pins of port 1 or the higher order pins of port 1. All of you there? Yes, please give the answer. Pin select
Lower, sir.
pin select 2 register is used to control the lower order pins of port 1. Okay, fine. And again, we have discussed about the input output, that is IO direction register and IO set register and IO clear register. IO direction register is used to make the pin to either work as an input or output, and IO set register is used to set the register, that is set the pin. I mean to say that to provide a logic 1, you are using a set register, and to make the pin to go low, you are using IO clear register. Okay, fine. So keeping those concepts, we will move on to the first program in your part B. So the first program in the part B is how to interface the DC motor and how to control the DC motor by connecting the DC motor to your processor. Okay, so the DC motor will be an external peripheral. You need to connect this DC motor to the processor. If you want to connect and if you want to interface these external peripherals to the processor, how to write the program and how to use the ports. So that is what we are studying now. So first of all, what is a DC motor? A DC motor is electrical motor which converts a current electrical energy into mechanical energy. So this DC motor, it converts from the current energy to mechanical energy. Okay, the most common type rely on the forces produced by the magnetic field, and this mechanical energy is being obtained due to the magnetic fields that are being produced. So this is the DC motor, okay, which is having the two poles, north pole and south pole. Between the two poles there is an armature. Okay, so between the north pole and south pole magnets there is an armature. So this dark dot is the dark dot, whatever I have written in this figure, that is called as an armature. Okay, so which is in turn having the two terminals, that is a positive terminal and negative terminal. So this is called as an armature connection. Okay, so what you have understood till now, a DC motor is an electrical motor which converts the current energy to the mechanical energy, and this mechanical energy is obtained due to the forces that has been produced by the magnetic field. Okay, and this DC motor is having the construction is nothing but it is having the two poles, north pole, south pole, and between these two poles there is a armature, and for this armature there are two terminals, positive terminal and negative terminal, which is called as an armature connection. So whatever the small dot I have written here, that is maximized here. Okay, that is shown here, and I've also told that it is having the two terminals, positive and negative. So these are the two terminals. Okay, so this is one terminal and this is the another terminal. So one of the terminal has to be connected for P0.11 and another terminal has to be connected for P0.8. And you may ask, like, why I need to connect the armature of the DC motor only to these ports? Why not to other ports? So many ports are available, right? From port number 0 to port number P0.0 to P0.31 and P1.0 to P1.32. So likewise there are 64 pins, and of course among 64 only 48 pins can be used. So from those 48 pins, why have to choose only these two pins is, so the internal architecture is designed like that. So you can connect the DC motor armature only to these ports. Okay, so whatever the kit that is available from the company, okay, whatever the kit that you are using in your part B experiments, so that kit is already designed internally. And if you want to activate those ports, what are all the steps that you are following, that we are understanding how to activate those ports and how to one more question may arise, if already been connected internally, then why to write the program, right? So it is connected but it is not activated. So if you want to activate those pins, if you want, in case if it is always activated, see in one particular kit, as I have already shown you in the previous lab, so stepper motor is there, DC motor is there, and again the 7-segment display is there, and the key matrix keyboard is there. So if all the ports is already been connected, if everything is activated, then which will be turned on, or which output you have to check. So you cannot check all the outputs, right? That is not the user. That is not how. That is not proper. So therefore, it is already internally connected, but you have to activate it and you have to control the DC motor. So for that only we are understanding how to write the program and how to interface it. Okay. So P0.8 is, this particular pin is connected to one terminal of the armature, and the P0.11 is connected to another terminal of the armature. So now, if I am giving, and again, in the DC motor, you can make the motor to turn in the clockwise direction, or you can also make the motor to turn in the anti-clockwise direction, or you can stop running the motor. Only three functions are available. Either you can make the motor to run in clockwise or in anti-clockwise, or you can turn off the motor, right? So now if I'm giving logic high, that is 1, if I'm giving 1 to P0.11 and P0.8, the motor runs in the clockwise. It is not visible properly because I have not taken the screenshot properly here. Okay, please copy down very neatly in your observations. Okay, runs in the clockwise direction. If you are providing logic high to P0.11 and 0 to P0.8, then the motor will be running in the clockwise direction. In case if you are giving 0, 0 to both the ports, that is P0.11 and P0.8, the motor will be turned off. And if you are giving 0 to 0.11 and if you are giving 1 to P0.8, then the motor will be running in the anti-clockwise direction. Only these three things you can control it. Okay, is it clear, all of you? Clear, everyone cleared with the concept?
Yes, sir.
Please take down. I'll give a minute time. Of course, I'll be sharing, but whenever I'm explaining, if you are taking, you will remember. Okay, so you can see the image here. So this is the DC motor which is available in the market, and this is the internal structure of the DC motor. You can see some armature here, and you can see the windings, and you can see the brushes also, but we are not bothered about how actually the internal circuitry of this DC motor looks, but just for your understanding, I have bought this image. And these are some of the applications which we'll be seeing in the daily life, right? If you have visited some Domino's or Pizza Hut, in Domino's it is clearly visible. So the pizza whatever it is after it get completely baked, it will be coming in this drawer continuously once it is baked, and once the timer is set, after the timer get expired. So this drawer, whatever that is drawer is there, right, it will be coming continuously, right? For that purpose, how it is coming, how it is getting closed, how it is getting opened, is by making use of this DC motor. And you can observe this also in the shopping complexes. You will be asked to place your luggage, and that will be scanned. So there is a rolling over here, so your luggage will be moving through the scanner. It will be scanned and it will be coming out. So if you would have observed all these things. So for this continuous motion, we are using the motor called as a DC motor here. Okay, this is a simple applications I have just bought here in order to give the importance of DC motor, right? We will be observing this in our shopping complex, or if we go to some Domino's or Pizza Hut, we'll be observing, but we will not be knowing what actually it is used internally. So I'm just giving the importance of understanding the DC motor. Okay, fine. So the DC motor cannot be controlled. It just can be turned on or turned off. So we are not controlling the speed here. Okay, we cannot control the speed. We can just turn on the motor, or we can turn off the motor, or we can make the motor to rotate in a clockwise or anti-clockwise, but we cannot control the speed. Okay, so it completely depends upon the manufacturer. So many of the DC motors are available which is rotating for 600 rotation per minute, that is RPM. 600 rotations are happening for one single minute, or 1200 RPM. So likewise, depending upon your application, you can choose the DC motor which is readily available in the market. So 1200 RPM means it is rotating very fastly, right? 600 RPM means the DC motor rotating only 600 times for a single minute. So likewise, many specifications are available. You can choose according to your design and or application, and you can take the DC motor in the market. Okay, fine. So now we will come to the actual program. And what is the strength? 1. Okay, so coming to the program of the part B experiment, it looks very simple. Okay, the program is very simple, but the things whatever you are writing here, you cannot bahat it. If it is a single program, you can bahat and you can write down, but you are having 8 programs in part B and you cannot bahat all the values, right? So therefore you try to understand the things whatever I explained. So what is the first line in the program? Hash include stdio.h is the thing commonly you will be writing, right, for the C languages. But here we need to use lpc2148x.h. Okay, so this thing you have to use hash include lpc2148x.h. So you're using this particular processor now, and void clockwise and void anti-clockwise. In the brackets you have written void. So in the brackets, if you have written void, means what is the meaning? You are not, first of all, these two are the functions, okay, which is already written. You can call these functions whenever you required in your main program, and the logic for clockwise and anti-clockwise, I'll explain it later on. I mean, after the program, after explaining of these lines, I'll come to this. Okay, in the braces, in the bracket, if you have written void, means what is the meaning of that? You are not taking any return value from the function. Okay, you are not taking or you are not getting any return value from the function. So that is the meaning of writing void there. Okay, so first 2 lines, we are writing a separate function in order to make the motor to rotate in a clockwise, and we are also writing one more function in order to make the motor to rotate in anti-clockwise. And we are defining one simple variable, that is j here, unsigned int j is equals to 0, and int main, and opening and we are giving some value to these registers. So first 4 lines, is it clear for everyone? So till here everyone clear? Do you have any doubts? Shall I move on to the logic of the program? Please tell yes or no, so that it will be interesting for me to explain. Shall I move on, or do you want to take it?
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yes, sir.
Fine. So now pin select 0 and IO 0 dir. So in the previous class, okay, in the previous class, what I have told, there are 3 registers, that is pin select 0, pin select 1, and pin select 2. So now why I am taking only pin select 0? Why not pin select 1 or pin select 2? So pin select 0, why I am taking is, we are using the pins, that is P0.8 and P0.11. So these 2 pins come under the control of pin select 0. So that's why I'm using pin select 0. If these pins are something like 21, 22, then I have to use pin select 1. Okay, you're all understanding. Since I'm using the lower pins, I mean, according to the configuration, P0.8 and P0.11 should only be used. So therefore, I'm choosing pin select 0. Okay, and what I'm passing here, I'm passing 0, 0. I'm making all the pins as to work as general purpose input output. So you may ask the question, why you are making all the pins as a general purpose input output? We are using only 2 pins, right? That is, we are using only 2 pins, that is 11th pin and 8th pin. Why we have to make all the lower pins, that is P0.0 to P0.15 to work as GPIO is, for our simplicity, instead of going and checking for the 8th bit and 11th bit, and instead of making only those as 0, 0, we shall make all the port pins to work as general purpose input output. Of course, we are not using other pins. Even if you are making other pins to work as a general purpose input output also, no harm in that. So therefore, for our easy purpose, we are moving zeros, okay, and making all the lower pins of port 0 to work as a general purpose input output. So now the 8th pin and 11th pin is also working as a GPIO, yes or no? Since I'm making 0 here, whether my P0.8 and P0.11 is working as a GPIO. So why I have to first of all make it as GPIO? We are using this pins, that is P0.8 and P0.11, for input and output communication, right? We are connecting this DC motor and we are utilizing these pins to perform the function as general purpose input output. We are not making these to work as a transmitter or receiver or PWM or interrupt handler. Okay, we are making use it for general purpose input output. So now if I'm passing 0 0 here, so you tell me whether the pins P0.11 and P0.8 is made to work as a GPIO, yes or no? Please do have the connection with the previous class. Okay, you're all getting. See, if I'm passing 0 0, okay, if I'm passing 0 0, so it will be, that pin will be working as GPIO. If I'm passing 0 1, okay, if I'm passing 0 1, that pin will be working as a transmitter or receiver. If I'm passing 1 0 to that port, then it will be working as a pulse width modulator. If I'm passing 1 1, that will be working as an interrupt handler. Okay, so I want these two pins to work as a GPIO. So therefore I have passed 0 for all these things. So if you elaborate this 8 zeros, okay, let me write and show you initially. So this 0 will be converted. If you are converting into binary, what happens? It will be 0 0. So this 0 will be 0 0 0 0. So these two bits is used to represent what, or is used to control what? P0 point. Yes, tell me please. Fast. You're all understanding what I'm trying to tell? See, if I'm making this as 0 0, what happens to port 0 point? These two bits are used to control which pin? Can anyone tell? So these two pins, okay, these two pins are used to control which pin? Fast.
P0.0.
0 to 7.
P0. Sorry. P0.0. Okay, P0.0. And these two are used to control P0.1. Okay, and this one, these two for P0.2. So this one we have already discussed in the previous lab. Okay, so now instead of making only 8th and 11th, I'm making all the ports to work as a GPIO. Okay, so now IO0 DIR register. Okay, so IO0 DIR. Why I have to choose this IO0 DIR? There are only two registers, that is IO0 DIR and IO1 DIR. IO0 DIR is for the port 0, okay, port 0 pins, and IO1 DIR is for port 1 pins. So we are dealing with port 0 only. See here, we are dealing with port 0. So that's why we are choosing IO0 DIR. And why I am passing 900 here? Why I am passing 900 value here? Because what is 900? 900 is nothing but, if I am elaborating or if I am converting into the binary data, 1001, right? 0 0 0 0. This 0 is written as 0 0 0 0. So what does this say? This will be controlling P0.0. This will be controlling P0.1. Okay, this is for 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and this is for 8, 9, 10, and this is for 11. So now if I am making the 11th pin and 8th pin has high, means what is the meaning of that? You are making those pins to work as an output or input? You just go back to the previous
Output, sir.
Yes, very good. You are making those pins to work as an output. So as I've already told you, output means the data coming from LPC to the external peripheral. Okay. Input pin means the data coming from the external peripheral to the processor. Okay. Just have the, just analyze, we are controlling the DC motor. So the data has to come from the LPC to the DC motor. So therefore I have to make these two pins to work as an output. So that's why I'm passing 900. We are not just passing 900 just like that. ವೈವಾ ಅಲ್ಲಿ ನಿಮಗೆ ಇದನ್ನ ನೀವು ಬಹ್ಯಾಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ, ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಸ್ಟೂಡೆಂಟ್ಸ್ ಇದನ್ನ ಬಹ್ಯಾಟ್ ಮಾಡಿರ್ತಾರೆ ಅಂತ ಗೊತ್ತು. ಬಟ್ ದೇ ವಿಲ್ ಬಿ ಆಸ್ಕಿಂಗ್ ವೈ ಯು ಆರ್ ಪಾಸಿಂಗ್ 900. ಅಟ್ ದಟ್ ಟೈಮ್ ಯು ನೀಡ್ ಟು ಎಕ್ಸ್ಪ್ಲೇನ್. ಸೊ ಅಂಡರ್ಸ್ಟ್ಯಾಂಡಿಂಗ್ ದಿಸ್ ಕಾನ್ಸೆಪ್ಟ್ ಇಸ್ ಓನ್ಲಿ ಮೋರ್ ಇಂಪಾರ್ಟೆಂಟ್ ಹಿಯರ್. Okay, not just writing the lines. Fine. So while 1 means what? Always the condition is true. So therefore the processor can easily go into the loop. Clockwise, you are calling a function called clockwise. So therefore the motor will be rotated in a clockwise direction. Whenever you are calling the motor, whenever you are calling the function, the motor will be made to rotate in a clockwise direction. And you are giving, or you are generating a small delay here. Okay, you are generating a small delay. Once you are rotating this motor, you are generating a small delay. And what is the delay? It is nothing but a for loop. For j is equals to 0, j is less than some value is given here. Okay, you can give any value here. If you want to generate a greater delay, you can increase this number, or if you want to have a moderate delay, you can give this number. And j plus plus. First the j value will be loaded with 0, and it will be comparing the j value with 0. Since the I hope you all know the for loop, right? I'm not going in depth about the for loops and all. You have already studied this for loop in the 12th as well as in the first year of your BE. Okay, so you are generating the delay here until the count becomes equal to this value. Once the count becomes equal to this value, you will be directly moving on to the next line, and the processor will be executing the anti-clockwise function, and therefore the motor will be rotated in a anti-clockwise direction for a certain duration of a time, and again there will be a small generation of a delay. Why you are generating a delay? Why cannot I just rotate my motor in a clockwise and anti-clockwise? Because the user should get to know the difference when the motor is rotating in a clockwise and when the motor is rotating in an anti-clockwise. Okay, because these DC motors will rotate in a high speed without any discrete in its nature. It is continuous. It rotates very high speed, in a very high speed. Okay, if it was a practicals, then it was good, but it is very difficult for me to explain now. But anyway, first the motor is made to rotate in a clockwise direction, and you are generating a small delay. Then again you are making the motor to rotate in an anti-clockwise direction, and again you are generating the delay. Okay, so this is the main logic of the program. Okay, and now we have to understand what is the logic in the clockwise and what is the logic in the anti-clockwise functions. Shall I move on to those logic, or do you have any doubts in this particular page? Shall I move on, or you have any doubts? I just require a response.
Sir, why was 900 passed in IODR, sir?
Yes, that's what. I have written the elaboration, right? See here, 900. So if you, so 900, you convert this 900 to binary equivalent. 9 means what? 1 0 0 1. 0 means 0 0 0 0, and this 0 is elaborated as 0 0 0 0. And why you are choosing IO0 DIR? Because you are using the port pins 0.8 and 0.11. So therefore I have to use IO0 DIR. If it was port 1 means I could have used. Okay, so this one is used to control P0.0. Okay, port pin P0.0. So this bit for P0.1, and this bit for P0.2, this for P0.3, this for 4, this for 5, this for 6, and this for 7, and this is for 8. See here, we are controlling the 8th pin, 9th we are not controlling, 10th we are not controlling, and 11th we are controlling, and we are making it as 1. So if you are making 1, it means that if you are writing 1 here, it means that you are making those pins to work as an output pin. It is very obvious that we have to make those pins to work as an output pin. So therefore only those pins are made as output. That's why I'm passing 900 here. Understood? Understood?
Yes, sir.
Okay, a very simple question. If it was P 0.10, okay, if it was P 0.10, okay, what value will pass here? Can anyone give the answer? It's a very simple question. If it was instead of P 0.11, if it was P 0.10, what value will pass it in IO0 DIR? Can I expect the answer in the chat box? I think yes, very good. Very good, correct. What about others?
500, sir.
Yes, yes. Fine. Okay. I think I can move on to the explanation for this functions. Shall I?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is the main program. Okay, this is your main program. And we are writing the logic for clockwise and anti-clockwise. So even here also you can just observe a very simple registers are used, that is IO0 clear and IO set. Here also IO clear and IO set. So first we are understanding the logic for clockwise. IO0 CLR means what? IO0 CLR means you are making some of the pins to go low. Okay, you are making some of the pins to go low. So which are all the pins we are making low here? We are making 8th pin and 11th pin, okay, of port 0. So if I'm making 8th pin and 11th pin clear, what happens? What happens? See here. If I'm making 8th pin and 11th pin clear, what happens?
Off.
Off. The motor is off. So first I'll make the motor to be in off position. Okay. Then I'm passing some value here for j is equals to 0, j is less than some 4 lakh like that, and j plus plus. So there is a small duration of a delay here. And again, you are setting, okay, you are setting by passing 800 to IO0 set. 800 means what again? So 100, okay, 100, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 0, 0, 0. Fine. So this is for what? P 0.0, and this is for 1, this is for 2, this is for 3, this is for 5, 6, 7, 8. Okay, 9, 10, 11, 12. Sorry, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So you are making 11th pin 1 and 8th pin 0. If you are making 11th pin 1 and 8th pin 0, what happens? 11th pin 1 and 8th pin 0, what happens?
Runs in clockwise direction.
Yes, you are making the motor to run in the clockwise direction. So that's why I'm passing 800 here. Okay, first you are making the motor to be in off position. Okay, then you are creating a very small delay by giving some 4 lakh value here. You are making the motor to run in the clockwise direction. Okay, so now whenever this program is being executed, what happens? So first it will come here, the motor will be keep on rotating here for a clockwise direction, and you will be whenever the processor executes this line, automatically it executes these lines, right? So initially the motor will be in off position, then after a small duration it will be rotating. It will be rotating in a clockwise direction. Okay, then again you will be creating a small delay here, and you will be making the motor to work in the anti-clockwise direction. So what is the logic that you have written for anti-clockwise direction? Here also we are making the motor to go off initially. Okay, we are making the motor to go off initially, and again And again, we are writing the for loop to create a small delay and passing 100 here. 100 means what? 0, 0, 0, 1. Okay, that is already written here. Okay, 0, 0, 0, 1, and this 4 zeros and this 4 0. You are making 8th pin high and 11th pin low. If you are making 8th pin high and 11th pin low, the motor will be rotated in the anti-clockwise direction. Understood? Understood the logic of the program? So what you have to understand is just what values you need to pass into pin select, what values you need to pass to IO0 DIR, clear, set. That's all. Is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So the actual program is only this much, only here on 10 lines, here 5 to 6 lines. That's all. Okay. Of course, you need to write about all these things. So the armature is having 2 terminals, and one of the terminal is connected to P0.8 and another terminal for P0.11. If it is 1, 0, the motor rotates in a clockwise. If it is 0, 1, it rotates in the anti-clockwise. If both are loaded with logic 0, then motor will be turned off. Okay, by keeping this important point, we'll be writing the whole program here, and we are generating so many delays by just using our for loops. Okay. Do you have any doubts regarding the logic of this DC motor? Okay, I'll just give a single minute. For your easy understanding, I've written here. Right? Any doubts? Shall I move on?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Let me get the response. Shall I move on? What about others? Understood,
Yes,
all
sir.
of you? Please
Yes.
give the
Yes, sir.
answers in the chat box. ಏನೋ ಒಂದು ಸ್ವಲ್ಪ ರೆಸ್ಪಾನ್ಸ್ ಬರೆದ್ರೆ ಎಷ್ಟೊಂದು ಜನ ಕೇಳಿಸ್ಕೊಳ್ತಿದಾರ ಅಂತ ನಮಗೂ ಇಂಟ್ರೆಸ್ಟ್ ಬರುತ್ತೆ. ಒಬ್ಬರು ಮಾಡಿದ್ರು, ಇಬ್ರು. ಇಟ್ಸ್ ವೆರಿ ಗುಡ್. ಫೈನ್. Fine. Thank you all. Okay, so the next program is how to interface the stepper motor. Okay, you all know what is meant by a stepper motor because we have already understood the concept of the stepper motor in the theory itself. The stepper motor is a motor which will be rotating in a discrete in its nature. So the best example what I have given is the stepper motor is used in the printing machines, right? So the paper will be after the printing of one line, the second line has to be printed, right, on the same page. So therefore the paper will be forwarded towards up. So first line is already printed, so the stepper motor is been designed in such a way so that the paper will be forwarded towards up. So therefore the printing will takes place in the next section, that is in the second line. After printing the second line, the paper has to move forward for a single step. So therefore the third line will be printed. So you would have observed this properly when you have visited the bank, right? It will be whenever you insert your passbook, it will be coming in a stepwise. Direct bandbadadilla, right? As soon as you provide the passbook, instantly you will not get the instantly it will not be printed and you will not be getting the printed passbook, right? It will be taking some time. You would have observed if you have visited the banks and if you have made the passbooks for entry. Anyway, so the stepper motor is used in the printers. That is the best example. I am trying to give the examples which are most widely used. Okay, so the stepper motor can be precisely rotated. Precisely means you can rotate it according to your wish. You can make the step size smaller or you can make the step size larger. So you can make the stepper motor to rotate however you want. But the DC motor, the speed is not in your control. You have to choose the DC motor, whatever that is available in the market based on your applications. But here the stepper motor can be rotated precisely. And stepper motor are DC motors that move in a discrete steps. Okay, the stepper motors are not like DC motors. The stepper motor will be rotating in a discrete. As we have already discussed. So you can energize A, you can energize B, and you can make C to energize, and B can be de-energized, and D can be energized. See, I'll just show here. So this motor will be running towards A. If A is energized, then I'll de-energize A and I'll energize B. So therefore motor to run towards this side. Okay, and motor will run towards this side, and if I'm energizing C and if I'm de-energizing B, and motor runs towards D if I'm energizing D and I'm de-energizing C. So likewise, I can keep on energizing some coils and de-energize in order to rotate the motor in a clockwise or anti-clockwise direction. Okay, see here, energizing and de-energizing is nothing but passing high and passing low. That's why I have written H and L. So what I'm doing in the first step, I'm energizing A by giving high, and all the coils are de-energized. Okay, all the coils are de-energized. So therefore the motor is towards this side now. Now I'm energizing B and I'm de-energizing other coils by passing logic low. So therefore the motor comes this side now. Okay, so this is how I'm making the motor to rotate towards the clockwise direction. And if you want to rotate the motor in the anti-clockwise direction, you have to understood everyone till here? Students? Is it audible now? No, whether there was a disconnection when I have explained stepper motor? I heard some sound. All of you understood, right?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So this is how I am energizing by giving one. And okay, so this coil A, coil B, coil C and coil D are being connected to 12th, 13th, 14th and 15th pin. Then 15. So likewise energizing it. Okay, so when it is energized in this manner, so whenever it is energized in this manner, the stepper motor will rotate by 7.2 degree. Okay, if I'm energizing A, okay, the stepper motor will rotate towards A for how many degrees? Only for 1.8 degree. If I'm making B2, if I'm energizing B, the stepper motor will be rotated towards B only for 1.8 degree. And if I'm energizing C, the stepper motor will be rotated towards C only for 1.8 degree. And if I'm energizing D, the stepper motor will be rotated towards D only for 1.8 degree. Okay, so totally if I'm energizing this manner, it will be taking 1.8 plus 1.8, 1.8, 1.8. You will be making the motor to rotate only for 7.2 degree. Okay, if the process is repeated for 50 times, then 50 into 7.2, 360. So the stepper motor will be having a complete one rotation if you are making this process to work for 50 times. Okay, if you are making this process to work for, if you are energizing this in for 50 times like this, then only the motor will be completing its rotation. All of you understanding? So because the stepper motor has 50 teeth, okay, we shall not bother about all such internal things and all. Only for your better understanding, I have written in detail. Okay, why we are taking 50, why it is 1.8. Do not bother about all such things. Just think, if you are performing one cycle, it will be, the motor will be rotated for 7.2 degree. Okay, in order to have the complete rotation, okay, in order to make the stepper motor to have a complete rotation, you have to perform this particular process for how many times? For 50 times. Okay, so how actually this will be decided is, this internal thing, it is not there for your syllabus, but for your understanding I'm explaining. So we are having the formula, the step angle 360 divided by 4 into 50. What is this 360? In order to have the complete rotation, we have to use this value, that is 360. And what is this 4? We are particular for one particular excitation of the coil, there will be a rotation of the motor towards 1.8 degree. If it is 100, if number of teeth are 100 means, it will be again changing. 360 divided by 400, again it will be something like 0.9. Okay, understood all of you? The in depth ಇಲ್ಲಿವರೆಗೂ ಅರ್ಥ ಆಯ್ತೇನಪ್ಪ ಎಲ್ಲರಿಗೂ?
Yes, sir.
So this is the stepper motor which is readily available in the market. So it will be rotating in a stepwise. So again we'll come to the logic of the program. So again the first line is same, that is hash include LPC2148 also you can write, or you can write it as XX. Okay, so because so many versions are available under LPC, so you can write it as XX also, 2148, 2149, 2150. So likewise you can generally write it as XX, or you can mention it as 2148 also. Okay, and void clockwise and void anti-clockwise, we are defining a separate functions for clockwise logic and anti-clockwise logic here, as we have understood with respect to the DC motor. And we are defining some variables here, that is var1, var2, and we are initializing the variables I is equals to 0, j is equals to 0, and k is equals to 0. Okay, we are using these variables in the program, so that's why we are initializing it. Okay, so pin select 0, again we are making all the pins, that is p 0.0, okay, p 0.0 to p 0.15 to work as GPIO, but which pins we are interested in actually? Which pins we are making use in this stepper motor actually? Only from P0.12 to P0.15. I can make only this as F here, sorry, this as 0, and rest I can write anything. But for easy purpose, what I'm making all the ports to work as GPIO. So that's why I'm passing zeros, okay, in the pin select 0 register, and IO0 DIR. So what I'm doing, I'm passing F here. Why I'm passing F here? So F00 means what? If I elaborate it, F000. Zero, zero. So this 0 is used for controlling P0.0, this 0 for P0.1, P0.2, 0.3, 0.4, 0.5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So we are not bothered about the pins that is from P0.0 to P0.11. We are bothered only on the 12th pin, 13th pin, 14th and 15th. So these pins I have to make it to work as an output. So therefore I have passing F here. So F000 are being passed in order to make the pins P0.1 to work as an output. See, I have written the comment also here. Okay. Okay. Next, while one, we are making the processor directly to enter into this logic without having any condition. So that's why I've written while one. And for j is equals to 0 and j is less than 50, you know why it is 50, right? In order to have a complete rotation, we have to perform this operation for 50 times. So that's why j is equals to 0, j is less than 50 and j plus plus. Clockwise, we are calling the function clockwise. So therefore the step direction. Next, you are creating a small delay as we have seen for DC motor. And again we are making the stepper motor to rotate in the anti-clockwise direction. And how many times you have to make that process for? You have to make that process for 50 times. So that's why one more for loop is there. And you are calling the anti-clockwise direction function. And you are creating a small delay before the motor gets stopped. Right? First we are calling the clockwise, and how many times you want to clock this clockwise logic, I mean the clockwise function, for 50 times. Why 50 times? You know, right? Because there are 50 teeth, all those things, you know. And we are creating a small delay before we get into the anti-clockwise direction. Okay, and again we are creating a small delay at the last. So now we will try to so in this particular program, you should only understand these two registers, why we are passing 00 and why we are passing F00. Is this clear for everyone? And this is very simple. These lines are very simple, right? All of you cleared with the doubt?
Yes.
Okay. Next, we will try to understand the logic of the program now for the clockwise function. And we are again writing void here because we are not passing any parameters and we are not taking any return values. So that's why we are writing void. Okay. And var1, we are using the variable var1 here. And what is there in var? Nothing but again 4 zeros. So 0th pin, first, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th. So at the 11th position, I'm having 1. Okay, at the 11th position, I'm having 1. For I is equals to 0, I is less than 3, I plus plus. So var is equals to var1 left shifted by 1 position. If this particular data is been shifted towards left for 1 time, so 1 was there in the 11th position. If I shift it towards left for 1 position, where this 1 will come, it will come to the 12th position.
So your voice is breaking, sir, in middle.
Whenever you are performing the left shift for second time, 13th pin will be having 1. And whenever you are performing the left shift for another time, 14th will be having 1. So likewise, you have to perform for 3 times because we are having 3 times, 4 times, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, because we are having 4 coils, right? A, B, C, D. So that's why we are passing 3 and starting is 0, 0, 1, 2, 3. So therefore, we have to perform this left shift for how many times? For 4 times. That's why we are writing this for loop, and this var1, whatever it has been, whatever that is been modified in var1, IO0 pin. So this IO0 pin I have not explained because not there in your, I mean, it is not used in your programs much. So what is this IO0 pin is? It is also one of the register. You can directly pass the values into this IO0 pin, and you can make these ports, okay, high or low, however you want. So what happens is, if I'm shifting for one time, if I'm shifting 800 towards left for one time, what happens? So 1 will be coming to P0.12 and it will be immediately reflected into IO pin, and therefore these pins will be activated. Which pins will be activated? P0.112 will be having 1, 13 will be having 0, 14 will be having 0, 15 will be having 0. Okay, so therefore the motor is rotated towards 1.80 degree. Okay, now still my I value is equals to 1. Still only one time it has been rotated, so therefore still I value is not equal to 3 or not greater than 3. So therefore again move into the loop, and now I am passing the same. This value will be shifted again for one more time towards left. So therefore this one will be coming here, and the same will be reflected since I am using the IO pin register here. Okay, and now for k is equals to 0, k is less than 6000, k plus plus. This is very important. Why we are generating the delay here? Because the stepper motor will be working with respect to the steps. We are not having the motion after 7. What was that? 1.8, 1.8 and 7.2. Okay. So after 7.2 degree rotation, after 7.2 degree rotation of the motor, you have to create a small step. In order to create a small step, you have to create a delay here, and that delay is being created by making use of this for loop. That is, for k is equals to 0, k is less than 60,000, and I'm telling from the beginning that this value is not the same value you need to pass it. It is left to the designer. You can create a larger delay or you can create a smaller delay by passing the smaller values or larger values. Okay, is it clear?
Yes, sir.
Coming to the logic for anti-clockwise, the same thing. Okay, the same thing. But var1 is loaded with 10,000. Why it is loaded with 10,000? Because I'll just explain you. So this is 0, 0, 0, 0. Okay, and this is 0, 0, next 4 zeros. And this is next 4 zeros. Here also 0. Okay, this is 0, 0, 0, 0, 0, 1. So this is the 0th position, first position, second, third, fourth, fifth, sixth, seventh, 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, 12th, 13th, 14th, 15th. Okay, 16. I'm passing 1 into 16. Okay, 16th position. I'm passing 1 into the 16th position. Now I'm writing the for loop again for 3 times. Why I'm loading 3? Because we are having 4 coils, that's why. And now I'm passing this value into the bar 1. Okay, and that value is being shifted towards right for one time. If you are shifting for one time, what this value happens? This value will be coming to the 15th position if you are shifting for one time. So if value is coming for the 15th position, P0.15 will be activated. Okay, and the same will be reflected here. Okay, I'm just passing through the variable, but it has to be reflected here, right? So that's why I'm using IO0 pin register. Okay, I'm not just activating the variable or the register. I have to activate these ports. So in order to activate these ports, I have to pass the updated value into IO0 pin. Okay, if I'm performing the shift for one time, 15th will be activated. Next, if I'm performing the shift for second time, 14th will be activated, and next 13, next 12. So likewise, you are activating 15, 14, 13, 12, and again back. So if you are performing this, then the motor will be rotating in the anti-clockwise direction. And finally, you are creating a delay here in order to have the step. Right? The same thing for clockwise. Whatever we have discussed for clockwise, the same thing. But in the var1 in the clockwise, what was the thing we have loaded? We have loaded 800, and here we are loading 10,000. and we are performing the right shift here, and there we have performed the left shift. Okay, the programs are very simple, but where you will be feeling difficulty is how to load these values. When we have to load 10,000, when we have to load 800, such confusions will arise. If you are clear with these registers, then it is very easy for all of you. Do you have any doubts till now, whatever we have discussed? If you have any doubts, please ask me regarding the DC motor or stepper motor. No doubts? Yes? No?
No, sir.
Okay, fine. I request one of the team member to present it. What is his name? Divakar, I guess. If Divakar is not there, another team is there, I think. Who are supposed to give today? Uma Maheshwar. He has left the meeting immediately. Who has to give today? Bhavya team.
Yes, sir.
Okay, load the PPT. I'll stop presenting it.
Okay.
Divakar, you are here? Yes, Bhavya, you can go ahead.
Good morning, everyone. The topic, just a minute, sir.
Okay.
Good morning, everyone. The topic given to us is embedded firmware design approaches. The members of the group are Bhumi, Bhavya, Vamshi, and myself. So I will be giving the introduction of embedded firmware design and development. The embedded firmware is responsible for controlling various peripherals of the embedded hardware and generating response in accordance with the functional requirements mentioned in the requirements of particular embedded product. Designing embedded firmware requires understanding of the particular embedded product hardware, like various component interfacing, memory map details, I/O port details, configuration, and register details of various hardware chips used, and some programming language. Embedded firmware development process starts with the conversion of the firmware requirements into program model using modeling skills like UML or flowchart-based representation. The UML diagram of flowchart basically gives us diagrammatic representation of the decision items to be taken and the task to be performed. There are two approaches which will be explained by Bhumi.
The two basic approaches are used for embedded firmware design. They are the conventional procedural based firmware design. It is also known as Superloop model. And the next is embedded operating system based design. Now I'll be explaining the Superloop based approach. The Superloop based firmware development approach is adopted for applications that are not time critical and where the response time is not so important. Then, the superloop approach is very similar to a conventional procedural programming where the code is executed task by task. The task listed at the top of the program code is executed first, and the tasks just below the top are executed after completing the first task. This is a true procedural one. Then the next is in a multiple task based system, each task is executed in serial in this approach. The firmware execution flow for this will be the first step is configure the common parameters and perform initialization for various hardware components, memory and registers, etc. Then the second step is start the first task and execute it. Third is the execute the second task. Fourth, execute the next task. After executing the n number of tasks, execute the last defined task, then jump back to the first task and follow the same flow. From the firmware execution sequence, it is obvious that the order in which the tasks to be executed are fixed and they are handled coded in the code itself. Also, the operation is an infinite loop based approach. This is called as super loop based approach because the above syntax code you can see that the task 1 to n are performed one after another, and when the last task, that is the nth task, is executed, the firmware execution is again redirected to task 1. Then